Good talk.
Ugh. Did you have a shear last week?
I don't know. Where was I? Trying to think where I was. We didn't attend, and I don't know why. Can't remember. I think there was. Let me just check.
Because I didn't see it on the WhatsApp that Mario gave,
Oh,
and I saw that Bernie asked, or somebody asked, is there a shear? So I didn't know if there was.
let me check. I don't see anything.
Because usually Mario sends an update of what Perek we're on and all that.
Oh, right.
Good to talk, Bernie. How are
You
you?
back home?
Yeah,
Hello.
yeah, we're back
Hi.
from Connecticut. Yeah.
Hi, Bernie. How's Tammy doing?
Making good progress.
Okay, that's good. You were there for Shabbos?
Yes, it's only my fifth time in the last 7 weeks.
Did you have what to eat? I mean,
Oh man, don't show me. Beaker Cholim has been pouring out the food.
oh, that's
Yeah.
nice.
That's
Yes, very
Is it
nice.
the same place as before? The same place near downtown, or is it a different place?
Yes.
They have Beaker Column there? Really?
Beaker Cholim delivers a carton of food before Shabbos. They're very nice. Food and yeah,
Wow.
all you need for Shabbos and more.
When do you expect her back home?
She's please God, her date of discharge is this Friday.
Oh, great. Great.
Yeah, hopefully.
Great.
Thank you for all asking.
Rest. It's the least we can do.
Okay.
Wish we could do more. By the way, did you have a shear last week?
Yes, there was a Tanakh shir last week. We're at the last few psukim of Perek Yud Ches.
What page is that? What page are we on?
187.
187?
So which pasuk?
38. I think. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I think you're right.
There, 38.
No. 185. I'm sorry.
185.
Shavua Tov, everybody.
No. We finished. We are in chapter 19. We are in chapter 19.
I think he didn't finish the last few psukim,
I
did
don't think so. We were not finished. We started in Melachim 184, 185.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. Yep.
Shabbat Tov, everybody. Shabbat Tov.
Good
Good
to
talk.
I think we're on not there yet. Perek Yud Ches. Perek Yud Ches. Pasuk Mem. We ended up with Hashem Elokim, Hashem Elokim. Correct? And we said, Vayomer Eliyahu lahem. So the Nevi'ei Abal, 450 Nevi'ei Abal, Eliyahu told the Jewish people, Tifsus Nevi'ei Abal, grab them. Ish al Yimalik man vayisbesum. Don't let anybody escape. Vayoridem Eliyahu nachal Kishon vayishchatem sham. They took them down to the river Kishon and they shechted them there. Just like by Moshe Rabbeinu, by the Egel Hazor, Moshe told the Levim, Ish Karbo, take your sword and kill them.
What's wrong with you?
And the way Shmuel killed Agag, and Pinchas also killed Zimri. I think we did this. We talked about
Yes.
what's the punishment of the Nevi'ei Baal? Should they be killed by fire or not? Yes. And then,
How many Nevi'ei Baal was there?
450.
Okay.
450. We learned this also. This told Achav go and eat because he was fasting. Again, to show the duality of Achav. Right. Tfilas Eliyahu, we learned this. That even if it's a gzeira, what you need to daven, we said that Geshem only comes with tefillah. And Gimel. Vayomer Baro. Aleina habeit derech yam. Go look towards the ocean. Vayal vayabeit vayomer ein mum. He didn't see anything. Vayomer shuv sheva pam. He told him 7 times. They were looking for clouds. Remember, Yod had davened for rain. Hara Carmel is close to the ocean, and usually clouds arise from the ocean. Eliyahu himself didn't want to look yet. He wanted to make sure that his tefillah was going to be kubal. He told him 7 times. Memdal. Vahi bashpiz. 7th time, Vayomer, the Nar said, Hinei av ktana kechafish olamiyam. A small cloud is rising. Vayomer alei amor lachav esor vareid v'lo yatzrecha goshem. So he told his Nar, go tell Achav, put your horses to the chariot. You can go off the Har, come and go home. And you're not going to have any problem yet with rain falling because there's only a little cloud. In the time it took for the Shaliach to go and tell Achav, and for Achav to hook up the horses to his chariot and go down, the heavens were full with clouds and wind, Vayigeshem Gadol, and rain fell. Vayirkav Achav vayelech Yisrael. And he went to Emek Israel. V'yad Hashem hayta Eliyahu. Vayishaneis Mosnav. Sort of the ruach, the power of Hashem grabbed Eliyahu, and he picked up his thighs to run. Vayaratz lifnei Achav ad bocha Yisrael. Eliyahu, even though Eliyahu was old, he got koach and gvura from Hashem to be able to run in front of the chariot of the king to reach him. Why was this done? Kidei lachlo kovas l'malchus. Even Achav. So Achav wouldn't go alone. And to show what a miracle it was here, Achav already gone. And Eliyahu came after him, but he was able to catch him up. At this time, the Malbim says, Achav had done tshuva, so he gave him covet as a melech. He wanted to continue to be makarev him to avodas Hashem. Gemara in Zvachim, Kuf Beis Amar Aleph. Amar Rav Yanai, le'olam tei emas malchus hayam. You should have covet for a king. Rav Yochanan me'acha. We see it from here. V'yad Hashem ha'isal eliyo, v'yishanes mosnav ha'yarz l'fnei Achav. Rashi over there explains Achav fighting by himself, and it's not respectful for a king. So Eliyahu ran in front of him to give covet even to a Russia. And from this Gemara, it seems you're supposed to give covet to a machas, even to a goy. And there was covet, Moshe and Aaron, there were various aspects which says V'yaradata Elai v'shtachavisi le, that there was covet being given to Paro, even though he was a Goyish king and a Russia. There's a concept that we learn in Perek HaRoeh, Malchusa the Araken, Malchusa the Rekia. When you see a human king, even a Goyish king, it has certain elements of Malchus Hashem. And if you're mezalzel in the covet of a king, you're mezalzel in the covet of Makom. Today, you'd say the President of the United States has that status. Even though we don't have a king, but there's pomp and circumstance. He's certainly the Malchus here. We say Dina de Malchusa Dina. So we call general government Malchus. So even though I don't believe we hold the bracha that you say in front of a melech, most poskim I don't think say you do it in front of the President of the United States, because they don't really have the, and there's a machlokas like Queen Elizabeth. She doesn't have the power over life and death like a king used to be able to say, kill him. She's a constitutional monarch, although I do believe that they're poskim say a bracha in front of such a king.
Well, she had Diana killed.
But you know what I'm saying? Like Henry VIII,
It's been recorded.
even
Yeah,
Henry VIII, those kings, the Magna Carta, that limited their power. They had to go through He couldn't just take off Anne Boleyn said they had to go to Parliament. They had to be a ruling, whatever.
Here,
What was that?
what? I can't hear you. Wait,
Was it David? What it was?
No, that's Bernie on something, or David. No, it's David, not Bernie.
It's David. It's David. Can you mute? Oh, somebody mute him.
Mute yourself. David, mute yourself.
Not everybody holds. Some hold that the Ralbag says there's not a din to give honor to a wicked king. It says in Choshen Mishpat, the Ein Chiyuv Kovet b'Melech Russia. But remember, Achav was a Melech Yisrael Russia. Anyways, so like for example, Tsar Nicholas, Shoim, that's this machlokas, whether or not he's a Russia or not, would be a nafkamina. We have a general question. After this whole episode on Har Carmel, where the Jewish people saw the miracle that Eliyahu performed, the Aish came down, they all fell on their face, they said, Hashem Elokim. We don't see that this led to a major change in the life of the Jews in Israel. We don't see afterwards that they left the Avodah Zarah. We're going to see in next parak, Izavel is going to try to kill Eliyahu. And Achav and the rest of it, they didn't protest. So there's another Navi Shir, been going on for a lot longer than our Shir, Rav Yisrael Reisman. in Young Israel of Borough Park. I'm not sure exactly what shul he gives it in.
Flatbush.
He gives it in Flatbush. Okay.
Mhm.
On this, I saw something written by him where he says, "Kol davar habar rak mitoch regesh ein lo kiyum." Something that it comes through just emotion doesn't last. Ki haregesh holech bizman katzar. The ileka is a davar sichli shegorem la'adam linog b'davar hazeh. If it's not associated with something intellectual, lo yakiyum. So this, what they saw by Eliyahu, was a very emotional thing, and that's why I didn't have a kiyum. So he adds that this applies to the men, not to the women. When we put on tefillin, first we put on our tefillin shel yad, and then we put on our tefillin shel rosh. The din is you're not allowed to be mafsik between tefillin shel yad, tefillin shel rosh. So it's not, the reason we can't be mafsik has nothing to do with the fact that we made a bracha, laniach tefillin, and then we're going to make another bracha al mitzvahs tefillin. And you might think, maybe we can't speak because of the bracha. We say it's not so. Because on Chol HaMoed, some people put on tefillin. I'm from a Hasidic family, we don't put on tefillin Chol HaMoed. But you have some people who put on tefillin Chol HaMoed. The Torah says not to make a bracha. Yet, we don't speak between the tefillin shel yad and the tefillin shel rosh. So, Rav Reisman answered, the tefillin of yad is next to your heart. The heart usually refers to the emotionality of a person. The tefillin shel rosh is next to our intellect, our brain. You need both for avodas Hashem. But avoda that's only through emotion has no kiyum. We see it from this Hara Carmel business. It needs to be, there has to be something intellectual combined with the emotion. So we're not mafsik between putting tefillin shel yad and tefillin shel rosh to show that you need a combination of the emotionality as well as the seichel in order to have a pure avodas Hashem. Okay. Perek Yud Tes. Pasuk Aleph. Vayaged Achav li'Izevel. Achav comes home, tells his wife, "Es kol asher asa Eliyahu." What happened at Har Carmel. Ve'es kol asher harag es kol neviim becharev. Of course, she was an avodah zarah nik. Achav tells her that they killed 450 Nevi'ah Baal. And that the Jewish people bowed down, and they said Hashem Elokim, and that the rain fell. And they brought the Nevi'im down to the Nachal Kishon, they shechted them. What's going on here? Why did he tell Izevel? So there's two approaches here. He's trying to elevate Eliyahu and to say that what Eliyahu did was correct. The other approach is no, he was trying to shtoch Eliyahu. And that he did all this against halacha. The Malbim explains beferish. When he says it's kol asher asa Eliyahu, it's miridas ha'esh v'geshem. Talking about the bringing down of the fire and that the rain came. Then that kol asher harag et kol neviim becharev, In the Malbim says Ratzah latzdik et Eliyahu. That Achav had been influenced for the good, and he did tshuva this time. He wanted his wife to do tshuva. And by recounting these nisim, he wanted to bring Izebel over to the good side, to bring her close to Torah. Similar to what happened Moshe Rabbeinu with Yisro. Vayisaper Moshe lechotno, ei kol asher asa Hashem lefar l'Mitzrayim. Because the Abarbanel points out that the pasuk here has 3 calls. Kol asher asa Eliyahu, kol asher ragas kol hanaviyim becharev. 3 times. Each thing is a nation in itself, which is unusual. The Kehilas Yaakov, another Mefaresh, on Tanakh says just the opposite. Fakert. That Achav is saying Lashon Hara on Eliyahu. He did this all on his own, not Al Pi Hashem, and Hashem doesn't agree with him. Where do you see it? Because he was mockery of a korban outside of Yerushalayim, when you're not allowed to be makriv on a bama, which is against the din. We also learned last week that the normal punishment for a Navi is skila, and he killed him with chorev. So the way they learn is Achav was trying to turn Izebel, didn't have to do very much to do that, but to turn her against Eliyahu. So Vatishlach pasuk beis. Vatishlach Izebel malach el Eliyahu leimu. Izebel sends a messenger. Chomas Anach, in the name of Rav Yitzchak Rashad, it says mamish malach, but most learn a shaliyah. She sort of takes an oath with her avodah zaras. I'm going to put your nefesh like the Nevi Ebal that you killed. Means I'm going to kill you. So the question is, why tomorrow? If you want to do something, do it right now. So some say that Izebel, this is according to the Pshat, that Achav was being noited towards tshuva, and that Izebel saw that. So she had sense. Wait till tomorrow. At night, Achav will already wane with his tshuva. And he'll go back to the way he normally is. Some say she didn't really care if Eliyahu ran away because she thought her avodah zarah was more powerful. Or a more practical reason, Achav has told her that all the people bow down, Hashem Elohim. Perhaps she thinks that the nation is with Eliyahu. They saw the fire come down. And they will rebel against her if they kill Eliyahu. Pasuk Gimel. Vayar, vayakam, vayelech el nafsho. Eliyahu hears about the danger. He knows he's in danger. Vayavo be'ershava asher Yehuda. He comes to Beersheva. Vayanach es nar rosham. He leaves his nar there. He doesn't want to rely on a nace. He's going to take all practical things and take care and leave. The Malbim says, Eliyahu hayamit boded rov yamav. Eliyahu Navi was a mystic. He was a person who dwelled alone. V'osek b'shlemut atzmo lashlim et nafsho. Like the Rambam describes who is a Navi, somebody who has elevated his intellect And you need a lot of avoda to do that. Hitbodedut. The early Hasidim would go out in the forest and have isolation, and maybe they would meditate, or they would think. Only the Eitat Tzorech, says the Malbim, Navi Shaluach Ela'am, would he be sent to the people to give some kind of nevuah. Now that Eliyahu sees that everything that he did in Har Carmel is not working, Izebel is said to kill him, and nobody's helping him. Not Achav, not the people. So he's going to go back to his regular business, which is Hashlamat Nafsho, working on his soul. So he
Bernie,
goes
the Abarbanel offers an alternative reading instead of Vayaris Vayira, that he was afraid that God had not appeared to him Beruach HaKodesh to advise him what to do. So he fled the scene.
correct. So before we get to the Abarbanel, the Malbim, when he says he went to Beersheba, because Beersheba is in Judea, it's not under the control of Achav. So he would not be afraid of Evizevel anymore. Now, like Bernie said, the Abarbanel says, Lo haya Eliyahu shum nevuah beitahi. There's no nevuah here. Lo b'shas ma'aseh Har Carmel. In fact, there was no nevuah there. V'lo achrav v'ayirem Zevel. Ki amar shema solek Hashem imo. The Abarbanel is pointing out that none of these things were nevuah. And maybe he's fearful of Izebel because Eliyahu thinks that Hashem has left him. So he didn't want to stay in the north under the Malchus of Achav. He wasn't sure that Hashem would make a nace. So he went to Beersheba, which is not under Achav. Now, if the way that Abarbanel is learning that there was pachad, why wasn't he afraid when he went to Achav? And he told him many times very strong words. So there, he was given a nevuah from Hashem. Lech hera el Achav. And we have a principle, shluchei mitzvah ein nizokin. Why do we give a shliach mitzvah geld to somebody? Because of this halacha, that if you make him a shliach mitzvah and he's going to go on a plane, nothing's going to happen to him because of this principle that if you're a shluach mitzvah, it's ein nizokin. But now he had no tzivui. So he was afraid. That's the Abarbanel, like Bernie said. Well, where is Beersheba? Is Beersheba in the Chelik of Yehuda? We learned in Yoshua, our group, Perek Yutes, when Vayetzei Goral Hasheni l'Shimon, l'matevnei Shimon l'mishpachotam, vayi nachlatam betoch nachlat bnei Yehuda, vayi lahem benachlatam be'er Sheva. Beersheba is in Shimon. So the Radak says, Nachlas bnei Shimon hayta betchum nachlas Yehuda. Sort of, the Nachla of Shimon was subsumed in the territory of Yehuda. So that's why here it's mentioned that it was Yehuda. Pasuk Dalet. Hu alach b'midbar derech yom. From Beersheba, Eliyahu sets out to the desert. Vayavo vayeshev tachat rotem echad. He sits under a tree. Vayishal et nafsho lamut. Eliyahu wanted to die. Vayomer Rav ata Hashem kach nafshi. I've had enough, take my soul. Ki lo tov anochi me'avotai. Why should I live longer than my forefathers? So why did he go into the desert? Some say he had no bitachon in Yehuda either, that maybe Izebel could reach him there. Or would ask the Melech Yehuda to extradite him. So he left the Yishu and he went to the Midbar, where there would be no ability to live. Now, we could go into the question, how could Elio do it? You're not allowed to take your own life. But here it says, it seems that he's choosing death over life. Or maybe he was hoping Hashem would reveal, because we're learning in this pshat that maybe Nevuah had left Elio. And by going back to the desert, being Mizboded, Hashem will appear to him again and tell him what to do. That was not what we said. Elio lived his life as a Mitboded most of his life. This rotem is a tree that's very warm. And he wanted to die, I guess, a Misa B'dei Shemayim, not at the hands of Izebel. And I don't need life anymore, Boilam Hazeh. Here I'm life and death every moment. I've already spread as best as I can Emunah in Hashem. I was Mekadesh Shem Shemayim Barabim. I killed the Ovdei Abal. What else do I have to do in life? I've achieved my goal. That's what meant when he says Kilov Tov Anochi Me'avotai. In the end, the Barbanel Sof Sof Ani Atid Lamut Kefi Tev Avotai, that everyone dies. Others learn, the Radak says very clearly, because who is Eliyahu? It's Pinchas. So he's already 400, 500, 600 years old. So now it's time. We are reaching the denouement of Eliyahu in the next few psukim, and the arrival of the next star on the stage, Elisha, his student. But this is the process that Eliyahu went through.
Ernie, the Radak, sorry, can I interrupt you?
Yes.
The Radak also, I see, also makes a comment that he maybe the reason he thought it was his death was approaching, that even though he went from Malchus Yisrael to Malchus Yehuda, the problem was that the sister of Achav was married to Yehoshaphat Melech Yehuda. So he would not have any security, even though he fled from Malchus Yisrael.
Right, we said he was fearful that maybe we said he would be sent, word would be sent from Izebel to Yehoshaphat, and he would be extradited, right. Because there was a marriage relationship. Very good that you reminded us with that, Bernie. It's true. And the Malbim says again, when it says Vayishalat Nafshalam, it says the Malbim, Ra'asha Kvartikin L'tzorach Atzmo, Et Asher Hayala L'takein B'chayim Azmanim. Every person is put on this world for a purpose. And the way the Malbim is learning, Eliyahu saw, I've done what I'm supposed to do. V'ra'ui ki tashuv nafsho el tzorachayim. And now's the time for man and neshama to go back. V'ta'azov et halavush hachumari. All of our souls are clothed in a physical body. Hama'afil beina ubeina ora bahir, which separates us from the shining light. Listen, gam b'chayav yipared la ruchaniyot v'amlachiyot kadam kodem achet. Shaya roy liyot chay lo'olam. For example, Yaakov Avinu. It says Yaakov Avinu lo meis. Say Chazal. But then the Gemara asks, what do you mean lo meis? the psukim say the embalmers in Egypt embalmed him, and then they took him back and they buried him. So what do you mean Yaakov Avinu lo meis? So one of the pshatim I've learned is similar to what we're seeing here, that death is a wrenching process for most human beings because of the gashmius of our lives. The neshama is a davar ruach. It's not a physical thing, but it's in a physical body. Yaakov Avinu lived his life with so much ruchnius, and especially the last 17 years of his life, it says it's like he lived in Olam Haba, that he minimized physicality of his life to such a degree that when his death came, it was like removing a coat. It was like taking off a jacket, because in essence, his life while he was living it was kulo ruchni. And basically, that's the way the Malbim is saying here by Eliyahu, that he's reached a very high madrega. Others say that if you use the word, if you would describe Eliyahu with one word, what would you say? He was a kanoi, because we're saying Pinchas hu Eliyahu and kano kaniti, right? The Pinchas could not stand the Chilul Hashem of Zimri having relations with Cosby in public in front of Moshe Rabbeinu. So kanoim poigimbo. Moshe forgot that halacha, that even normally you're not allowed to put somebody to death, but he was a kanoi. He was jealous for the covet of Shammai. So here, he wanted to be. He took a shvua that there shouldn't be rain. He wanted to be chayzer Klal Yisrael to tshuva, and Hashem wanted him to give rain, but Eliyahu held back because Klal Yisrael had not done tshuva. Now there's a Ma'aser Harakarm. Everybody said Hashem Elokim. He thought, oh, maybe they did tshuva. But now he sees Izebel is after him. Achav is in agreement. Nobody's protecting him. So Eliyahu realizes really they didn't do tshuva. And they still want to worship Avodah Zarah. What do I need life for? He could not stand the Chilul Hashem. His whole avodah was for Kavod Hashem, and it's been affected. And we're about to be told a story about Eliyahu that mimics the only other person, Moshe Rabbeinu. He's going to go to Midbar Sinai, and we're going to see a very parallel story, what happened to Moshe. Now, what happened? What did Moshe say here by the Cheta Egel? Or no, it's later on. At the Meraglim, when he's fighting for the Jewish people, Hashem also there wants to destroy the Jewish people. But he says, Im kacha at oseli hargeni na'arog. Im atzati chen beinecha va'al ere berati. Moshe Rabbeinu also asked to be killed. I don't want to see the people in their evil ways. And I don't want to see the Shekhinah being embarrassed. That Bikesh Moshe Shekadosh Baruch Hu Yikach Oto Min Ha'olam. Not because of his own personal tzaras. Lo Yachol Lizbal Ha'onesh Yavo Yisrael. Kain Eliyahu. Lo Shal Sheyukach Nafsho Mishum Tzaras Raprat. It wasn't his personal tzaras. Mishum Shla Yachol Lizbal Achilul Hashem. And the state that Yisrael has fallen into. So, Vayishka Vayishan Tachat Rotem Echad. Eliyahu falls asleep underneath this tree. V'nei zeh malach nogea bo, and a malach, Hashem, vayomer lo kum echol, wakes him up to tell him to eat. He was still hungry from his fast because of he was fasting that Klal Yisrael should get rain. There was a lot of travel. Vayabeit v'hinei mirat rosav ugat mitzafim v'tzapachas mayim. Elio looks up, above his head are cakes and water. Vayochal vayesh vayoshev vayishkav. He wakes, he eats, and then he goes back to sleep. Vayoshev malach Hashem shenit vayigabo. The malach comes again, touches him. Vayomer kum echol ki rav mimcha derech. You need to eat more. You have a big road ahead. You won't find any food. Elio didn't know where he was going. We're going to see he's about to travel 40 days and 40 nights to Har Sinai. And the Radak says the road was smooth for him. On the same mountain that HaKadosh Baruch Hu revealed the Torah to us, he's going to appear to Elio. Vayakam vayochal vayishteh. So he wakes again and eats. Vayelech b'koach achila hahi. With this power, he walks. Arba'im yom v'arba'im laila ad har Elokim chorev. It's not exactly like Moshe Rabbeinu. Here it says Arba'im yom v'arba'im laila lechem lo achal umayim lo shasa. It doesn't say that over there by Moshe she'omad b'koach achila. Here, he did get human nourishment. It's still going to be miraculous. How do you go for 40 days, 40 nights with one food? But not quite to the level of Moshe Rabbeinu. The Malbim says this was a spiritual food. This koach achila was machal ruchani, and it's nizdakech kufar b'yom v'yom laila. It purified his body. He's going to be seen. He's going to be shown a vision, and you have to prepare for it. The Torah Mincha says that the neshama zana saguf be'emes. Our body gets its nourishment from our soul. Like we said earlier, the Iyayam in Parshas Re'eh, the B'chol Adam yesh chatzitza ben aguf l'neshama. We have a separation between our guf and neshama. There's only one person, chutz mi Moshe Rabbeinu, the Hayashneim ke'echad. Moshe Rabbeinu's guf and neshama was the same. Lefichach k'sha'ala Moshe l'Sinai chai, aval b'shlo achal v'lo shastar b'em yom v'em layla. Moshe Rabbeinu was able to live 40 days, 40 nights without eating. Even the lohaya chatzitza ben aguf l'neshama. Hakol nizun mikoach hazanas l'neshama. The body was nourished through the nourishment that the soul is getting. Mikoach haruchani shayas sham be'ofen gadol. Same thing happens here to Elio. There's his batlus aguf, and he's being nourished from the neshama, but not quite like Moshe. He needed some mazon gashmi beginning. Pasuk test.
Ernie, can I just point out something? Sorry to interrupt you again.
Please.
If you look at the lashon of the pasuk, Arba'im yom v'arba'im laila ad har Elokim chorev. That's a parallel to Parshas Shemos, where Moshe comes to the burning bush, where it says har Elokim choreva. So it's an exact copy of the lashon, which is an interesting parallel based on what you already said.
Right. We're seeing sort of a similar event, but by Har Sinai, there's a revelation to 600,000 millions of people. Here, there's going to be a revelation to Elio. We'll have to talk about that. So vayavar sham ela me'ara vayalen sham. There was a cave. A week ago, in Parshas Kisisa, we talked about Nikras Hatzur. There also, Moshe has a personal revelation where Moshe asks, show me your face. And Hashem says, you can't see my face, you can only see my back. There also, in the middle of Kisisa, there's this revelation to Moshe Rabbeinu. This same cave is where Eliyahu goes now. And Vinei Dvar Hashem Elav, Vayomer Lo Malach Hapo Eliyahu. Eliyahu is asked by Hashem, what are you doing here? Meaning, you left your place. The Navi is supposed to be with the people to be mochiach them. Not that he should be alone in the mountains and the valleys. So, what does Eliyahu answer? Vayomer kano kineti l'Hashem Elokei tzvakos. I am jealously fighting on behalf of Hashem. Ki azvu brischa bnei Yisrael. Bnei Yisrael has left your covenant. As mizbechotecha harasu. They have destroyed your mizbeachs. Es nevi'ai hargu b'charev. They're killing your nevi'im. Va'ivater ani levadi. I've been left alone. Va'ivakshu es nafshi lekachtan. They want to kill me. His kanokiniti, he went to kill the he stopped the rain in order to make them do tshuva. Pirkei Rabbi Eliezer says, when it says brischa, ki azvu brischa, that at this time Klal Yisrael was not doing bris milah. And when it says as mizbechosayich harasu, because they don't want to worship Hashem, they only want to worship Avodah Zarah. The killing of the Nevi'im Bechar, that's Izevel killing Nevi Hashem. Remember, he wasn't aware of Ovadia who had saved all those Nevi'im. And the Pirkei Rabbi Eliezer says, I came here to be mispalel at a holy place, that Hashem should take revenge on all the evil that Klal Yisrael has done. And the way the Malbim explains, he says, I can't serve as a Navi and a person to do tochacha to these people. I'm disgusted by their evil acts. I can't perform my shlichus as a Navi.
Why Achav didn't prevent her to do it if he made tshuva?
So we learn two pshatim when Achav told Izevel, one pshat was that he was choizer b'tshuva, and he's being madzik Eliyahu. But the other pshat was no, he was doing it to anger Izevel, that he really didn't do tshuva. So this is going according to the pshat that he really hadn't done tshuva. Now, when it says here as mizbechosecha harasu, it refers to the mizbechos that the Malchei Yisrael had destroyed. Rashi says here, Bomos Yochid Anases L'Shem Shamayim. What's going on is here that I'll review. When Klal Yisrael comes into the land of Israel, they were there for 14 years before they built Mishkan Shiloh. During those 14 years, they were allowed to have private bamas in their backyard and offer korbanos there. It was permitted. After 14 years, they built Mishkan Shiloh. For 369 years, you were not allowed to offer korbanos on a bama. Once you have a Mishkan, you've got to bring all your korbanos to Shiloh. The Plishtim destroyed the Mishkan and Eli, a Cohen, died. So for 57 years, there is now permission to build a bama and to offer korbanos there. Now, not all korbanos were allowed to be done on a bama. The korbanot tzibur had to be done in Nov and Giva. The korban Pesach, you had to go to Nov and Giva. But if you wanted to bring in a korban ola or a korban shlomim, you could do it in your backyard bama. Once Shlomo Melech builds the Beis HaMikdash, there's now prohibition of private bamas. Rashi is learning here that the Malchei Yisrael, the Achavs, destroyed the bamas that Klal Yisrael had built to offer korbanos to Hashem. The Beis HaMikdash is in existence under Yehoshaphat. So the question is asked, why is this considered a sin that the Malchei Yisrael are destroying these bamas? You're not allowed to worship on a private bama. The Malchei Yisrael did good by destroying these bamas. If you're makriv bachutz, you're chayv kores. Why is Eliyahu complaining? Remember, Eliyahu is listing all the bad things that the Jewish people are doing now. So this, as mizbechosecha harasu, if you learn, like Rashi, that it's referring to the bamas hayachids that the Klal Yisrael built, why should there be a problem? You're not allowed to worship on a bama. By the way, if you look at this Rashi, the last word says, Sharei Mizbech Beis HaBechir B'Yushalayim Hay. Because there's a Mizbech in Yushalayim. What does that have to do with anything? That's further reason to praise the Malchei Yisrael for destroying the private bamas to force them to go to Yushalayim. Now, some will say that was not their kavanah. They didn't have kavanah. It was l'ra, that they didn't want Bnei Yisrael to be makriv korbanos to Hashem. Even though when they're doing it, it's prohibited, their kavanah on those bamas was korbanos l'Hashem, not to avodah zarah. So that's a good complaint. And that's why it makes sense that Rashi mentioned the Mizbech Beis HaBechir B'Yushalayim. That since Klal Yisrael were not allowed to go there, and they wanted to be makriv to Hashem, they made bamas, even though it was Be'isr. And the Malchei Yisrael wanted to stop that. However, the Chassam Sofer says something wonderful here. He says, if a Mizbech was built to Hashem, you're not allowed to destroy it. Because it says over there in the Pasuk, you have to destroy all the Mizbech Avodah Zarah, but Lo Tasun Kein L'Hashem Lokechem. But a Mizbech built to Hashem, you may not destroy. And says the Chassam Sofer, the Loma boy b'shas heter abomis diyesh isra zeh el afilu b'shas isra abomis. That means when you're permitted to use a bama, certainly there would be an avera to destroy such a bama. You're permitted to offer korbanos to Hashem. But even when it was prohibited to offer on a bama, if it was originally built to worship Hashem b'shas heter abomis, you can't destroy it now that it's be'isra abomis. Even though now in time you're not allowed to offer it on this mizbeach, you're not allowed to destroy it because it was built. A lot of these bamas were bamas that were built when they were before Shlomo Melech built the Beis HaMikdash, and those were not allowed to be destroyed. So the Malchus Yisrael that destroyed it did a bad thing. I think this is a good. There's now going to be the revelation to Eliyahu. And then we'll see the appointment of Elisha. I want to save this for next week. Now, I wanted to give opportunity for people to make comments. I wanted to discuss tonight, they're moving the clocks. So next week, we're going to go back to Sunday night, 8 p.m. like we normally did. Otherwise, we'd have to learn very late Saturday night. So I wanted to just poll the crowd. Do we want to go back to Sunday night, 8 p.m., like we did before? Or do we want to do it Motzei Shabbos at 9 p.m.? Whatever.
I like Sunday, 8 p.m.
Okay, let's go back. I think we did that last year too,
Yeah.
or the clock. So we'll go back to Sunday, 8 p.m.
I agree.
That's okay with everybody.
Fine.
Okay.
Good.
How about 8:30 on Motzei Shabbos? Why can't we do 8:30 on Motzei Shabbos? Shabbos